Macho.
Cocky, perfect.
What?
Egotistical, macho, perfect, okay? Those are the ones I'm looking for, okay? How about when Teddy was a kid? Would you just how would you describe him when he was a kid? Sick, weak, right? Weak, skinny, weak, sickly. Yes. He had asthma. What did he have? What was one of his senses was not so good? Eyesight. Blind as a bat. Okay, now here's where we have to be clear. We've had 44 presidents. Teddy is almost always in the top 10, regardless of what historian you're talking to. He's almost always a top 10 president. So he was a very good president, right? So if I were to ask you, is he what kind of a president was he? And one of my options was slightly above average. You wouldn't say that, right? That's not slightly above average, right? You'd want to go with something higher than that.
Do you have something higher?
Yes.
Like really above average?
Yes.
That's the answer. Really
No,
above average?
no.
Oh. Okay.
I have. There's another word,
It's
but if
probably
I.
excellent.
Yes, it is excellent. Yes, that's what I have. So, how were Teddy and Franklin Roosevelt related? They were distant cousins, fifth cousins actually. It was distant cousins. That's how they were related. Don't mess that up, people.
Wait, it was Teddy and who?
Franklin Roosevelt, a later president. What happened with his wife and mother?
They died within 11 hours.
Died. He killed them both in the same day. They did die in the same day. They did not. He did not kill them.
Like 11 hours away.
Yeah, 11 hours apart. Yes. Now you don't. It comes to mind. I don't think you know this because our video didn't get this far because I cut it off. Teddy Roosevelt later in his life. This is after he left the White House. He was off doing things. I mean, hunting. He loved to kill animals. But when he was in Africa, he contracted malaria, and that can kill you in itself. He survived it, but he died a few years later than that. And doctors surmised that it was the malaria that actually got him in the end. It shortened his life. They think that his contraction of malaria made him live a short. He died like in his late 60s. So they said that had he not been for the malaria, he might have lived longer. Okay, now I've talked about when Teddy got plunked in the chest. I talked about this, right?
Yeah.
Now, he got shot in the chest. I told you there was a book that he had in his breast pocket that the bullet hit, which was actually what saved him because the bullet didn't have as much penetrating force. But he continued to speak. Why?
Because his mouth didn't bleed.
What does that tell you?
It's not that.
And he was fine.
He was a hunter. He knew that when animals are mortally wounded, they bleed out their mouths. He knew that he wasn't mortally wounded. He would survive it. So I'm going to be a badass, bleed through my chest, give my speech, So he was... Takes more than one bullet to kill a bull moose. Okay, so that's what he said. So, all right. And then you know the story about the teddy bear.
Yeah.
He was off on a hunting adventure, shot the mama bear. The rest of the party wanted to kill the baby cub that they saw later, and Teddy said, no, don't do that. And word got back to the media. The makers of teddy bears, they then decided to make their stuffed bears called teddy bears because they look like a baby cub. So that's where the word, to this day, that's where Teddy comes from. It's probably the thing he's probably the most famous for is that teddy bear. That's his longest living legacy. All right, what else do I have for you here? Let's keep going. This is the big test. Kidding. What does the word annex or annex mean? Like when you annex another country, what does that mean? It means you make it part of your own country, you make it part of your own, you incorporate, whatever, you make it part of your own. And speaking of that, what does imperialism mean? Imperialism. Yes. It's taking other people's territory to expand your economic and military potential. That's what imperialism is. I mean, no one's done it better than the United States, whether you're proud of that or not.
Wait, taking other people's what?
Territory. Land.
Wait, what about
Well, not the way we are now. Okay, guys, you know what this word means? Jingoism?
What the?
Jingoism? That's extreme patriotism. That's Americans who are like rah rah USA. Like you're very nationalistic. That's what jingoism is. We have some people like that. You see them. They're,
Is that on the post?
yeah, the word jingoism. It was in the PowerPoint that we did the other day. Yes, it was.
Copy that every single
I'm calling you out here. You want, I don't want to embarrass you.
one.
You- It might not be highlighted. Maybe not. Might not be highlighted. Okay, all right. And since you're so smart, Abby, I'm going to say it's not highlighted. But I'm telling you, jingoism is extreme nationalism. They're the people who go to like campaign rallies and USA to me. Okay. All right. Why did the Panama Canal not get more attention worldwide when it opened? Over one it just started, right? So, you know, that's front page news. And just like days before it too. How long did it take to build the Panama Canal?
3 to 4 years.
10 years. 10 years. That's one we didn't get, right?
Yeah.
It's 10 years. 10 years. Get that down. 10 years. It was one of the great human endeavors of all time building the Panama Canal. It was a really big accomplishment. I want you to also remember again that the way that the way boats passed is it was a lock system. It would go up like a staircase like this, just like the Ballard blocks. And the way they filled it with water was by nearby Lake Gatun. It was just a huge, huge lake that's always has water in it. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, can I borrow Abby and Ruby?
You sure Abby's been in class for 5 minutes already?
Yeah.
It's time to leave early. Is it a yearbook thing?
Yeah.
What are you going to ask them?
About their rowing experience.
One row after the other.
Wait, what?
Both oars in the water. Let's go, girl. Let's go. Figure it out. You're missing important stuff here. All right. Let's see. You know that. You know that. Oh, yellow journalism. Yellow journalism.
It's when you make something up.
Yes, it's when you, well, not necessarily make something up,
like a
although,
stretched line.
yeah, you really exaggerate the truth and fabricate things. It's not really like making something up completely. It's really like twisting the facts big time. But it's designed to convey a feeling to the readers so that they'll react to something. And a good example is, you know, the USS Maine. The people in America did not want to go to war, did not want to go to war, did not go to war, so they fabricate the story about the USS Maine being blown up by Spain. It did not happen that way at all. And before you know it, people are saying, hey, they killed our sailors, let's go kill Spain. That's what yellow journalism is. Speaking of the USS Maine, what do we now know blew up or could be almost blew up the Maine? It was an internal explosion. It was our own fault. It wasn't a landmine. It wasn't a bomb. It wasn't Spain. It wasn't Cuba. It was our own ship that just blew up inside and it caused it to sink. We now know that. Okay. Oh, let's not forget this name, Chandler Bing. Matthew Perry. His fame is that he went into Tokyo Harbor. He went into Tokyo Harbor and forced the Japanese to trade with us. He had battleships. You're going to trade with us or we're going to kill you. You know that, you know that. Oh, you're so smart. How many Frenchmen died building the Panama Canal, mostly by malaria? 20,000. Get that down, 20,000. Angela?
Are we gonna get that paper we turned in yesterday back or no?
I thought you didn't turn it in.
We turned it
No,
in.
we did.
Oh, I don't want you to turn it in. Did I collect that?
Yeah.
I didn't mean
Did we
to.
get them
Oh,
back?
heck yeah.
Yeah. Reed, why don't you go to the third period box. It'll say Panama Canal video. All right. When President McKinley was shot, how long did it take for him to die?
2 days.
A few days later.
Oh.
A few days later, he died. Okay, from infection. It was a few days, so it wasn't immediate. It died of infection. You know that. You know that. Oh, why did the Republicans? Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt was a Republican. He was really, really popular. Why did the Republicans not want him to run for president? They wanted McKinley to run for president. Yeah, his ideas were a little radical for the Republicans. They didn't really fully agree with him, but he was enormously popular. He probably would have won the presidency, so the Republicans thought ahead and they said, hey, let's have you run as the running mate of William McKinley, and that way you'll be the vice president. Basically, you have no power, and of course, McKinley's killed very shortly into his term, and Roosevelt takes over. Becomes the youngest ever president.
Which one?
Just the one that says the Panama Canal video. Let's see. Let's take a look. Take a look. That's right there. That's it. Yep. Blah 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 blah. You know that. Blah blah. Blah blah. Oh, what was Roosevelt's attitude toward people with very low IQs and criminals, as far as
They should
reproduction?
They should die.
Yeah, he said, well, they should be
killed.
sterilized. No more kids, no kids to be, because that would only perpetuate the problem, because he thought it was all genetic. What country tried to dig the Panama Canal but failed? Before us, France. How is a vessel going through the Panama Canal is charged according to what?
Ladder system.
What?
Depending on size.
How big it is, how big it is basically. 'Cause now, just so you know, guys, a cruise ship might be charged by how many passengers there are, but we're gonna go with size, because most ships are charged on how big it is. After we won the Spanish-American War, what did the United States do with Cuba? Did we want to keep it as a colony, or did we give them their independence? Give them independence, which turned out to bite us, because years later, many years later, 50 years later, Fidel Castro took over, and they've been nothing but a pain in our side since. Now, guys, I got to correct myself on something yesterday, because I looked this up this morning. Today, in today's dollars, the biggest ships that go through the canal are charged $450,000. Get that down. I said 200,000. It's been a few years. It's now $450,000 for the biggest ships to get through the canal. However,
400.
$450,000. However, it saves, and get this down, 8,000 miles of travel from the east coast of the U.S. to the west coast, and which means about 2 weeks too. So it's 8,000 miles and 2 weeks of travel. So it more than pays for itself. So it's very good.
How come it costs money?
How long does it say?
Like, are
It's
there
a toll,
like,
man.
but are there like workers and stuff?
Yeah. But that's it. But it's just it's a gravy train for Panama. That's why.
Oh, okay, so
it's
just the
huge.
government?
They make almost $2 billion a year from that. That being said, the next thing I want you to know is it takes 8 to 10 hours to get a ship through the Panama Canal. 8 to 10. The next thing I want you to know is there are about 14,000 vessels a year that go through the Panama Canal, which is a little less than 40 a day.
How many?
14,000 a year. So
Can they
this,
do multiple ships at
yes, they'll choo-choo train them. Yes, yes. And it's all day, every day, 365 days a year. Ships going through the Panama Canal.
What was that one?
There's about 14,000 vessels a year go through the Panama Canal. Now, here's something else I want you to know. We built the Panama Canal, but don't get this down yet. But in 1977, Jimmy Carter wanted to give control to the locals, the Panamanians, but it was over time. So by 1999, 20-something years after Carter struck the steel, Panama has taken full control of the Panama Canal, with one caveat, and that is that if it's ever under threat, we can defend it with our military. We can keep it open. That's obvious. The United States wants to keep it open for military purposes. So they get all the money, the revenue, it's all theirs, but we get to defend it militarily. Panama gets it, and they get all the revenue, but we get to defend it. If it comes under threat, our military can defend it, which is a win-win for Panama, by the way. We dug it, we'll defend it, you get the money for it. $1.8 billion a year for this thing. That's a boon for them. But on the other hand, though, it is in their territory, so you kind of get why it's theirs, though. I think that's it. I think you guys are going to do everything. Everyone else.
How much did it cost to build?
Why do you guys have questions? I don't know off the top of my head. In today's dollars, I have to look it up. I don't even know. In today, I wouldn't know. I'd have to look like 20 times. I don't know. Billions and billions of dollars. We'll say that. Probably in the tens of billions of dollars, actually. But all right, yeah.
Wasn't the American battleships during World War II restricted by the size of Panama?
No, they can get through. Oh, that's what I want you to know. The new canal, but the new Panama Canal is supposed to open this year. I don't think it has yet. It's supposed to open this year, and it's even bigger, so it'll take much bigger ships, although the world's biggest ships still, these huge freighters still can't use that one. So there's still some ships that cannot use the Panama Canal, but there's a bigger one still that's being built right next to the existing one that was supposed to open this year. I don't think it is, though. I think it's a little behind schedule. And yes, battleships could use it. Any ship in the 1940s could get to the Panama Canal. Does anybody have any questions about what your test is going to be about, what it's going to cover? It's going to be with 40 points-ish, yes-ish. Yes?
So we need to know who Matthew Perry is.
Yeah, he's the guy who forced Japan to trade with us.
Okay.
Okay? Tomorrow is the test. Let me show you something, children.